Welcome to Edutube, your guide to mastering Web3 marketing from scratch. We're going to kick things off with a pretty huge idea, a real game-changing question.
I mean, really think about it. All those platforms you use every single day, social media, video streaming, all of it. Right now, you're just a user. But what if you were an owner? What if you actually had a real stake in the digital worlds that, let's be honest, you helped build? That whole shift from just using something to owning it, well, that's the absolute heart of Web3.
So here's our game plan. We're going to take a quick trip through the internet's past to see how we even got here. Then we'll get into the real meat of it. What exactly is this read, write, own era of Web3? We'll check out the cool tech that makes it all tick, like blockchain, and really dig into why this is such a game changer. And finally, we'll talk about how your journey starts now. All right, let's dive right in. To really truly get what Web3 is all about, we've got to look back at where the internet has come from. You can kind of think of the internet as having three major phases, maybe three different lives. First, there was Web 1.0, which was basically a giant read-only digital library. Then, boom, Web 2.0 hit, and it became this massive social party where we could all read and write. And now, well, now we're stepping into Web 3.0, the era where we finally get to own a piece of the action. Okay, so let's quickly unpack those first two eras, because this is the internet that most of us grew up with. And honestly, you have to understand them to see the big problem that Web3 is here to solve.
Web 1.0 was pretty much a one-way street. I'm talking about those super basic static websites. Remember early Yahoo? Yeah, that. But then Web 2.0 came along and just blew the doors open. It turned the internet into this huge two-way conversation. All of a sudden, with platforms like Facebook and YouTube popping up, we weren't just reading content anymore. We were all creators. But, and this is a huge but, there was a catch. In all that excitement of creating and connecting, we kind of gave away the keys to the castle. All our posts, our photos, our personal data, our entire digital lives, it all landed in the hands of just a few giant tech companies. We were the ones building these incredible online worlds with our creativity, but we didn't own a single brick. So that begs the question, right? How do we fix this? How do we take back some of that control? Well, that is the exact problem Web3 was born to solve. Web3 throws in this third, absolutely game-changing piece of the puzzle: own. And look, this isn't just some minor software update. This flips the whole model completely on its head. As you can see right here, control goes from big tech companies to you, the users. The power is literally taken from these central companies and handed back to the people, and it's all made possible by this amazing technology called the blockchain. And if there's one thing you take away from this, let it be this. In the old internet world, there's a saying: if the service is free, you are the product. Your data is what's for sale. But in Web3, nope. In Web3, you are not the product. You are an owner. Okay, so you're probably wondering, how does this even work? Like, what's the actual tech that lets us own a piece of the internet? Great question. Let's get into the fundamental building blocks of Web3. Everything, and I mean everything, starts with the blockchain. Now, the easiest way to wrap your head around it is to imagine a shared digital notebook. Seriously, anyone on the network can see what's written inside, so it's totally transparent. But, and here's the magic, because of some really clever technology, once something is written down, nobody can go back and change it or erase it, ever. So why is that digital notebook so ridiculously secure? Well, see, each block of information is linked to the one before it using cryptography, creating this super strong, unbreakable chain. If anyone, and I mean anyone, tries to mess with an old entry, that link shatters, and the whole network instantly knows something's wrong. This is how we can have trust and security online without needing a big bank or a giant corporation in the middle to verify everything. Okay, so if the blockchain is our super secure notebook, then what are NFTs? Well, think of them as the entries you write in that notebook to prove you own something. I know, non-fungible tokens sounds super technical, but non-fungible is just a fancy way of saying it's completely unique, one of a kind. It's kind of like having the official deed to your house, right? Anybody can walk by and take a photo of your house, but only you have that piece of paper, that deed, that proves you're the legal owner. An NFT does the exact same thing, but for digital stuff, like a piece of digital art, a song, or even a membership pass to a club. All right, so we've got our secure notebook, the blockchain, and we've got our digital deeds, NFTs. But how do you actually organize anything in Web3? How do groups of people make decisions? Well, that's where DAOs come into play. A DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization, which is a mouthful, I know. But basically, they're groups that run without a CEO. The members themselves are in charge. So how does that even work? Well, instead of a typical top-down company structure, the power is spread out among all the members. Usually, this is done with special tokens that act like voting slips. So when a big decision needs to be made, it's not some boss in a corner office who decides. Nope, it's put to a vote for the entire community. It's a totally different way of thinking, a transparent, community-first approach. So let's recap. We've got the blockchain for security, NFTs for ownership, and DAOs for community governance. What happens when you put all of that together? What does this actually mean for the future of the internet? And more importantly, what does it mean for you? There's a great quote from a Web3 pioneer named Amanda Cassatt that just nails it. She says that in the old internet, you had companies making products for consumers. But in Web3, all those separate groups just collapse into one word: community. The people using the platform, the people investing in it, and the people building it, they're all on the same team working together. And what that means for you is pretty incredible. It means you actually own your digital stuff. You get to decide what happens with your personal data. You can actually share in the financial success of the projects you help build. And you get a real voice, a real vote in how those projects grow and change. You're not just a user on a platform anymore, you're a stakeholder. So there you have it. We've gone through the what, the why, and the how of Web3. Hopefully you've got a really solid foundation now for understanding this brand new chapter of the internet. As we start to wrap this up, I want to leave you with one simple idea. If Web 2.0 turned us all into digital renters, living and creating in online spaces that someone else owned, then Web 3 is what finally hands us the keys. It's the fundamental shift from being a renter to being an owner. Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer. This is really just the tip of the iceberg. If you're ready to master Web3 marketing from scratch, definitely hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single thing. And one last thing, we really want to hear from you. What's the one part of Web3 that excites you the most? Is it true digital ownership? The community-run organizations? Let us know in the comments below. We read all of them and we can't wait to see what you think.
Edutube, where blockchain becomes easy to understand.